Gordon Smith. He has been 10 years in the U.S. Air Force, 10 years in the U.S. Navy, and I thought I would choose someone with a good, strong service background to speak out about the case of Lieutenant Colonel Terry Lakin, who is refusing orders to he's not trying to get out of combat. He's been there, done that, plenty, decorated. He just didn't think this particular president has the qualifications to be president, and therefore he doesn't think the order to go to Afghanistan is legitimate, and he's not going to go. Gordon Smith is where he belongs on this particular story. I first learned about Lieutenant Colonel Terry Lakin from Gordon Smith, who has been a proud, ardent, upright, unapologetic so-called birther from the beginning. So you are a proud birther, and it's your microphone.
Well, thank you very much. Listen, I'm just going to give you like a 1-minute brief bio here of this lieutenant colonel because it's really important. He was a doctor, surgeon in the Pentagon. Even though he's lieutenant colonel, he did get promoted to full colonel recently. Numerous military awards, including the Bronze Star. He brought up this issue of this birth certificate more than a year ago. It's just kind of hit the radar screen now, but he's been working on it for a year. He tried to do it through his chain of command, the legit way, and, the general said, no joy, just shut up. He feels so strong about this that he's willing to give up everything, his retirement, his pension, jail time. I've learned a lot in the last 48 hours. I've been in daily contact several times a day with his spokesperson, a really, really wonderful committed woman from a group called Safeguard Our Constitution. Her name is Margaret Calhoun Hemingway. He's, as of the last couple of days, he's been read his rights. He's had his clearances taken away, his access to the Pentagon taken away, his laptop. And instead of deploying to Afghanistan, again, which he should have done the other day, as you said, Barry.
Which he was called upon to do the other day.
Exactly, and he's served over there before. He's had lots of combat experience. But anyway, he's now temporarily assigned to Walter Reed, awaiting charges. But here's the two sides of the issue. The left is, and I've read so many blogs about this in the last 2 days. The left is saying throw the bum in the pokey. The right is behind him, who support him with donations for legal help. Legal expenses. They're giving him moral support to do the right thing, which, to maybe his peril, he's going to be put in jail. But he wants Obama to prove that he is his legitimate commander-in-chief. Now, if I have a minute, let's talk about the media, because the media is the crux of this problem. It finally dawned on me the other day that Obama is not the problem. The other night, or last night, on Bill O'Reilly, Bill had Megan Kendall on as a guest, and they both got talking amazingly about this situation. I applaud him for bringing it up, but then he opened his mouth and blew it because he said that he's a committed non-birther because he is absolutely for sure saying that he has seen the birth certificate. And then on the screen, they showed two birth announcements that were in the Hawaii paper back in the early 60s showing that Obama was born there. Well, I could go into that, but I won't. But the problem is our mutual friend from World Net Daily, Joe Farah, called him on it the other day, and he actually called O'Reilly and said, look, you said you've seen birth certificate. Have you seen it? And he said, well, not really. My staff has seen it. So Joe didn't give up. He called up his staff, and they said, no, we don't know what you're talking about. We've never seen it. So they really kind of make fools of themselves when they say these things. But the public, unfortunately, they believe Bill. So, but that's where the issue is. It's the media is constantly covering for this guy, and they just let him do whatever he wants to do. As a matter of fact, did you hear the latest bit, which just cracked me up? Obama was missing for about 45 minutes on Saturday. And he broke protocol. I don't know if people know this, but he's never allowed to go anywhere without Secret Service, and he's never allowed to go anywhere without somebody from the press. So he broke protocol and went in some staff car and headed down the road. And when the press finally realized in the White House he was gone for about 15 minutes, they asked Robert Gibbs, and he said, oh, he's at his daughter's soccer game. So the press said, well, forget this. We're going out there. So they jumped in a van and followed him. And when they got to the little stadium thing where his daughter was supposed to be playing soccer, there was no soccer game. So have you heard anything on the radio or the TV about, gee, Mr. Obama, where were you on Saturday? They just are giving him a free ride, and there's no way to solve this problem now, this whole birther thing, without some media bigwig like Glenn Beck or Hannity or my super buddy Krauthammer putting his job on the line and making some kind of commitment to turn the heat up to Obama until he gives in. But nobody's willing to do that except for you, Barry. And,
but Gordon, I have a question. I hate to interrupt this, but I have a question.
Sure.
Why do you think this man stood up at this point? What makes him different than from any other man in the services? What was it?
I do not believe this president was born in the United States. Here I am. Lock me up. I'm a loyal American. Obey laws, pay taxes. Just, look at yesterday. But I certainly am not 100% sure. Gordon, are you more sure than I am?
Can we get Gordon to answer my question right before the break too at some point?
Yeah, I'd like to answer that question. The very first time I was on the radio with you guys, I remember Sarah asked me why I was getting involved in this birther thing, and I gave some answer, and she said, "Well, that's very noble of you, but why are you really doing it?" Here's the no offense, Sarah, but here's the answer. Here's the answer why this colonel is doing it. And this is coming, and I don't know this gentleman, but this is coming straight from his spokesperson, Margaret Hemingway. He is just totally committed to the Constitution, and he has been harassed and harried by his friends and his family. Even his family is not behind him on this. They're saying, "Would you please let other people deal with this? You're giving up your career, you're giving up your retirement, you might go to jail." And he said, "You know what? I just have to do this. The Constitution is more important than me," and so that's really noble as far as I'm concerned. But that's why he's doing it. He just feels like somebody has to bear this cross, and he's the one to do it. Now, the only good news about this is if he gets court-martialed, even though it's a military court-martial, he's going to be entitled to obviously a legal defense, but then he's going to be entitled to discovery. And his attorney is going to definitely ask the judges panel that as part of discovery, he needs to see this birth certificate because that's the whole crux of the issue. So it'll be very, very interesting to see when a lawyer asks for something to come up in discovery why they can't come up with it. So I'm waiting to see that one. Barry, about an hour ago, I got an email from Margaret Hemingway, and she has a very good friend in North Carolina, and who's a birther, a teapot person. Well, they contacted Senator Richard Burr, the senator from North Carolina, and said, "Look, you need to get involved with this. Please help this colonel out. We need to see his birth certificate." And here's the official answer that came in from Senator Burr's office, or actually Senator Burr himself. He said, "Hawaii has already released the certification of live birth." That's all I can tell you. So again, when you go to the top and you ask for help, they just keep on spitting out the same old thing. But it was very interesting that Celia felt the way she did at the Tea Party movement last night, because if you go back and you watch some of the videos on TV from the very, very first kind of birth of the Tea Party movement, half of the signs, they weren't talking about you're taxing me too much. They were, "Where's your birth certificate, Mr. President?"
You're right. Okay, well.
Great, Gordon. Thanks for being on with us.
And I'm just sorry I didn't have a chance to develop my point. My point is I'm ashamed of the media. Where are they?